Hi everyone, welcome to Dext training today. This is the basic training session for Dext Prepare. I'm Anushka Jayalat and I'm a partner success consultant with the Dext North America team. I'll be hosting this session. So if you have any questions on the content that is discussed on this webinar, you can post your questions or comments in the questions tab or even on the chat. I'll be stopping the video and I'll be taking those questions live at the end of the session. So let's look at the checklist for today's session. First, creating and managing client accounts and how to set up your client accounts to work with the respective accounting software. What are the methods available to upload cost and sales documents to Dex Prepare, and how to review and edit those documents and how to publish them to the accounting software, and how to create expense report, viewing the document submission history, and finally, how to add client users and practice account users within your Dex Prepare account. Let's see this on Dex Prepare. Bear with me. I'm going to log into my demo account. Perfect. So right now, I'm logged into my Dex Accountant's demo account. So as soon as you log in, you would see your firm name appearing here. So that means you're at your firm level. And if you have any clients already, you would see the client list available too. So these are the clients that I have access to right now. When you're in your firm level, all these workspaces belong to your firm. That means you have the option to upload documents to cost sections, sales sections, and even expense reports and route them to your accounting software for your firm itself. So let's start with adding the client accounts first to get you set up. So first step, as you can see, we are at the My Clients tab at the bottom, and you already see the option to add the client account. Once you click that, you can select Dex Prepare for this instance. Dex Precision is our other platform. And now you can give the name of the business. If you use internal practice codes, you do have the option to key them in and select the industry that the client belongs to. Next step, when you have your team members set up in Dex, which I'll be showing you at the last step in this training, you can give them access to this specific client. You can selectively give access here, or if you choose this one, they all will get access. So in this instance, I'm going to give access to myself, and I'm going to hit next. And this step, it is optional. I recommend you skipping the invitation here. So you'll be first creating the client, and then you have the option to add the end client users. But if you prefer to add the client users itself, at this step, you do have the option to key in the information on this screen. And you can also take a look at the invitation that will be sent out to them. So when you click skip invitation, you have to confirm to create the client account. Dex will take you right into the client account, but I'm going to go back for a step this instance just to show you a couple of more steps. So again, I'm at my clients page, and now I see the demo client has been created. Before we go into the client account, let's look at client management. So on the client that is created, if you go into this manage dropdown, you do have a couple of options that you can work with. Edit means you can change the name and the details of that account. If you click on the prepare option, it'll take you into the account itself. Again, you can change the practice access if you want to update that on a later date easily. You can manage the end users, and you do have the option of changing the system settings within that specific account. If you click on the name of the client, you would see a couple of other options appearing for you. So you would see the CRN, the name here, and you do have a couple of important steps of deactivating and removing client options. So at any point of time, if you want to deactivate this client, that means this client will be on the deactivated client list, but still you would have access to all the documents within that account. You can choose to deactivate. On the other hand, you also have an option to remove this account from the practice. If another bookkeeper is taking over your client and you want to give access to your clients to take over the subscription, then you can use a remove client option here. And I'm going back to the main screen. Also, the columns that you see here, you also have the option to filter it further by the details that you have in these sections. And also select what columns you see in what way that you are seeing them. Great. Let's go into this account and get started. So I'm going to go into this client that I created, and now you can see the name has changed. That means I am inside that account. So every action you take within this account only impacts this account itself. And if you have any other clients, now you have the option to switch between them or go back to your own practice. So typically the second step that you can take is to connect this client with the respective accounting software. So you can go down into connections, integrations, and you will have the option to choose the accounting system that you work with. So I'm going to work with QuickBooks Online. So you can look for QuickBooks Online here. Once you hit connect, we are going to give you the option to log into your QuickBooks file through your Intuit login and select the specific client account which you want to connect with Dext. Once you select that and hit connect in that page, this account will get connected to QuickBooks. I have this client already connected, so let me show you how this will look like. So if I go back into connections, integrations, now you see that it's been connected and what's the name of the QuickBooks file. So in this screen, you do have to set the default for this integration for this specific client. So first to start with, you can look at the default destination of publishing for cost. That means the cost workspace here, which we're going to dive in a little bit later. So you are just going to set the default destination of publishing. You can choose anything that you like. I like to have it as bills, but these defaults can be changed in each document level as well. And for the sales section, I'm going to have it on sales invoice. I like to have this turned on. So if Dext is creating the supply into QuickBooks, it'll give you a warning. So you can choose whether to proceed or not when you have this turned on. If you're a Canadian partner, I would recommend you have the published tax data turned on. But if you're a US partner, you might not need to track the taxes. You can have this turned off from here. So now we are looking to tag the default tax codes for these clients, which are coming from your QuickBooks file. So I'm based out of Ontario. So I can look for these tax codes coming from my QBO file and select the appropriate tax code. So I'm going to look for HST Ontario. And next, it's for the exempt tax code. If you have one, you can choose from this list. And now again, the same step for the sales section. I'm also choosing HST Ontario. You also have automatic publishing available here, but I would not recommend you turning on automatic publishing in this screen because it will be for all items. But if you're considering automatic publishing, we do have an option where you can actually turn that on for specific supplier or supplier level, which I'll show you when we're setting up supplier rules. And also, please note you do have a couple of important steps here. So if you can refresh the integration data, which could be useful if you create like a new chart of accounts or a new tax code in QBO, you want that to reflect in Dext immediately. You can refresh it and you do have the option to connect the integration or change or disconnect that here again. If you're a partner who works with clients in dual tax province, whereas like GST, PST, with our QuickBooks Online integration, you do have the option to expand this a little bit more to accommodate those two tax codes. So you can go into, for that client, you can go into Profile, Account Details, and turn on Extract Secondary Tax. Once you do that, if I go into my integrations page again, now you see I have a couple of additional lines here. So in this instance, you can, first line would be your combined code and respectively GST and PST code. So I'm going to look for my GST PC1 and the PST PC code. So now when there's additional taxes mentioned on the documents that have been sent in, Dext will appropriately tag them, and actually you can post them to the relevant tax code with KBO. We do have integrations with other accounting softwares as well. So if I'm to show you quickly a Xero integration, the steps that you take to integration will be exactly the same, but the options that you see would differ based on the accounting software. So this is the Xero integration. Now we have a couple of additional fields available here. So first, again, the destination for publishing cost documents. With Xero, you can select the one that you work with. You can have the purchases. And you also have the stage that it goes into Xero available with Xero accounting software. So you can choose that. Similar to cost, the sales option, and what's the stage that you want it to be posted into Xero. And also for the expense reports, you have the option to select the destination and the stage that is going on. And again, have this option turned on. And on you have the with Xero, you have the option to autofill the bank recognition within Xero account. So you can have that turned on. And for the tax settings, I would recommend here you can select allow text prepare to decide, and you can use tax list to be turned on, and you don't need to have the tax rates here to be turned on for using the supply tax rate. We'll be using the tax which is extracted based on the document indexed. Great, I'm going to switch back to my KBO file, and let's go through what are the methods available for you to upload documents into this specific client account. So Dext has 4 methods available to upload the documents itself. So the first one, uploading from the computer that you're working with. To start with, you need to select the user that you're uploading the document for. Or if the user is sending it directly, this will be automatically pre-filled for them if they're using such as the mobile app to send in documents. But once you select the user, you have the option to drag and drop the items easily. You do have a couple of options. If the document is a single scan document for a single invoice or receipt, you can use one document per file option. But if you have a PDF file consisting of multiple invoices or multiple receipts which need to be separated, then you can use the one document per page option, which will actually separate the document that you're working with. So then you can select the file and upload that. I have multiple Costco files. So if you have any documents that you're working with, you can just upload it and you would see it's been uploaded into the Dext account, and it will go into in processing, which you will see on this section later. So the second method is invoice fetch or connecting to a supply account. With Dext, you have the option to connect this Dext account for a supplier's online portal. So if the client has online supplier accounts with specific suppliers, you have the option to connect it directly. That's what we call invoice fetch. And you can come to that also under connections and costs again. Oh, I came through here. So here you do have a list of suppliers that we work with. You can choose a recommended tab or the popular tab to see the main ones. If not, you can go to the full list, search for a supplier that your client is working with. And now you have the option connect this Dext account, in this example, to the Bell online portal. So Dext will fetch the invoices that has been generated within this supplier account every weekly into this account. To set it up, if you know the credentials by yourself, you can hit connect. It will take you to the login page to key in those Bell credentials here. If not, you can select the user's name, and you can even send them an invitation so they can key in their credentials for their own Bell account. So it's going to go to the email that you have given to them. And now if I hit connect, as I was saying earlier, it's going to take you to the Bell login page. So now we need to enter the details, credentials for this Bell account. Once it's connected, you would see those active connections being shown here. Okay, so going into the third method, that is sending documents via email. So when you're setting up users or employees of this company within this Dext account, you do have the option to assign an email in method for every user. So I'll be showing that to you at the last step when you are adding the users, but for an example now, Lando has this email being provided to him. So if he has any documents within his email, he can just forward them into this Dext address. So then it'll also come into this Dext account, the cost section, if you're using the sales one for the sales section. So they don't need to download the documents or drag and drop it. It's easy to forward the email itself, and the documents will be captured when we are looking at documents. So that's the email in method. The last one is the mobile app. Every user has the option to use the Dext mobile app, take pictures, and send the documents into Dext easily. So the Dext mobile app will start to look like this. So when you're logged in, or the user has logged in, they have the option to go to camera, take pictures of it. Depending on the documents have, they do have a couple of 3 camera options available here, so they can choose between them. And if you want them, they do have the option to leave a note, or if not, these fields are optional, but easily send the documents in by taking the picture. And documents will be uploaded to, again, to that specific client account. Perfect. So that's the methods available to upload the documents into this Dext account for every client. So let's look at the document management. So once the documents are sent in, you would see them appear on these cost and sales workspaces, respectively. So every workspace is split into several tabs. So first one, the documents are uploaded. This is the invoice that I uploaded a little while back. So it will go into in processing where Dext extract the information, and then it will pull it into inbox where you can go in and have a look at those documents and start categorizing them. On the other hand, the to review and to ready tabs filters the total documents here based on the status they're in. So you can easily look at what are the ready documents and what are the ones to be reviewed. And the archive is where all the documents are hosted when they are published or archived in Dext. So going into inbox, so I'm going to go into this reset. So now you can see the image alongside the information we have extracted side by side here. So you can start categorizing them in this section. You can see the person who has uploaded the documents. If you want to change the user, that's also possible. And this option that you're seeing now, the option to change it is available only for admin users, but you as a bookkeeper or the accountant, you will have this access. You can see the type of the document, the date. You can choose the supplier and select the chart of accounts, what it needs to be. So I'm choosing this from my chart of accounts appearing from my QBO list. In addition to that, you do have the option to select products or services. If you want to rebuild for clients, you do have the option to select that. Or even if you have projects in QuickBooks, projects will also be appearing under the customer list. This is a project that I have in QBO. So that's coming under the customers list. So you have the customers plus the projects under this dropdown. If you use classes, locations, you have the option to select those as well and leave a description. Now you can check the amounts against the taxes that's been extracted and choose how you want it to be posted into QuickBooks Online. So when you're selecting bills in the Publish To field, you're posting as unpaid into accounts payable, but this is a receipt which is already paid. So you do have the option to post it directly into QuickBooks as paid options as well, which is cash check or credit card. So you can select credit card, and now the payment method field will get mandatory for you. To select the payment method, your list might not be looking like this. It could be empty, so you need to add the payment method first. So what you're trying to do here is just select the bank accounts, credit card accounts, savings accounts you have in QBO, and have them linked to Dext and recognize. So you can give the same name here, for an example, so you know that easily, or you can recognize that credit card in Dext as well. If it's a credit or debit card, key in the last 4 digits also in this field. And once you add that, you would have a list, active list of the common accounts that you work with in this section. So now you can easily select the card or the account that is paid from, and you have the option to post it into QuickBooks as already as a paid expense. And if you hit publish, it will get posted into QuickBooks Online. In this section, you do have the option to break it down to multiple lines. Might not be for this receipt, but for specific invoices, if you want to assign chart of accounts or different tax code for every line, you do have the option to go into that detail and key in separate amounts for each lines as well. Also note in this area, you do have a couple of other tabs. History is the document history. You can see who has taken what actions on this document. You do have a note option where you can leave a note internally indexed. And messages is where you can send a message to that user who sent in the documents to get a clarification on this specific document. So if the user is using the mobile app, this would be activated. Let me go into this one. There we go. So if the user is using the Dext mobile app, you can quickly ask a question about this document they have sent in and get a clarification easily. You have the option to have a chat with them in this section. Perfect. So that's how you can view the documents and start categorizing them and post them into the respective accounting software. You do have a couple of other options here. You can note that if it's merged together, you can note the split option. And if it's a document which you don't want to post into QBO, you have the option to just archive that. And even on the main area, if you select any documents, you would see under tools, there are a couple of other options available. A quick tip would be the merge option. A document being separated unintentionally, you have the option to select those and merge them together. And you can export them out, you can bulk edit them. If it's a cost document, sales document sitting in the cost inbox, you do have the option to convert it into sales as well and delete and flag like I have here. And lastly, in all these columns that you see, you also have the option to change the columns that you're seeing currently. So you can add columns or remove columns. You can filter the documents based on multiple fields as well. And as I showed you all earlier, so the archive tab consists of all the published documents and anything that is being archived, and you have a search bar here. You can search for that historical documents easily within Dext for this specific client. So going into the sales section now, same principles. Sales has the inbox and the similar tabs as you would see the cost section. So if you have a sales invoice, now you're looking to put that into QBO as a sales invoice or as a sales receipt or as a credit note. So you can choose the one which is appropriate and again, go through the details that need to be pre-filled. For sales documents, you need to specify the customer that you're invoicing that for, and also the product or service that you're working with. And all the other fields are optional for you. If you're doing that tracking, you do have the option to select those. Again, check the amounts, check the values. You do have the option to switch between currency. This is also available in the cost section as well. And again, the tax codes if you want to specify anything. And similarly to break it down into lines. And once you're ready, you have the option to publish this into the accounting software. And you do have similar tabs appearing in this section in comparison to cost area as well. Great, so that's posting costs and sales documents. So let's look at the expense reports now. So you have the option to create expense reports in Dext for individual users in this company. So if you want to keep the individual expenses, which they need to get reimbursed separately from all the documents or the business expenses that is sitting in the cost section, you do have the option to group them as an expense report under the expense report tab in Dext. So your users would be sending in the documents from any of the four methods that we discussed by uploading it or sending via the app of email, forwarding the emails to Dext. So once the documents are in, you can, as a bookkeeper, you have the option to create an expense report for them. So like selecting the appropriate ones for that specific user. For an example, like these two for Lando. And you have the option to click add to expense report, add it to a new report, or if you have an existing report already, add to that running expense report. So I'm creating a new report in this instance. I'm going to create Lando's details, provide the period which I need this expense report to be created, and I can hit add. Once you hit add, these documents will go away from the cost section and will be added into the expense report tab. And these steps that I showed you, selecting and adding to expense report, is also possible in the Dext mobile app. So the user itself can submit the documents, have the option to choose that, and add it to expense report under themselves. So once the expense report is created in all these areas, so I'm going to add it to probably to this one. You can see them under the expense reports under inbox. So now you see the expense report which has been created and what are the users. So now you can see for each user what expenses been grouped into this report. And similarly, like the cost area that we were in earlier, you have the option to categorize them. Select the chart of accounts category from the main list, or you can go into that. You again have the option to categorize those as well. And in the expense report, you have a report being generated for the expense report. Let me move into another one. There we go. So it will have the name, the expense report, and what are the documents in here. And for expense reports, this will be the link to the image indexed. And now you have the option again to post these documents into the accounting software. You can see the individual user's name, which these reports belong to. You can give a name for the report, check the end date, currency, description, and same principles again. You can post it as unpaid, or if you want to post it as already paid, you have those options appearing similar to the cost section as well. And the audit trail option gives you the option to see the history of activities within that expense report. Perfect. Once the expense reports are published into the accounting file, they will be sitting in the archive tab for you. Okay, perfect. So Now we covered up to the cost section, sales, and the expense report. You do also have the option to look at the documents that is being uploaded to Dext easily. So if you go into within every account, go on the profile under submission history, you would see the history of all the documents that have been sent in. So you would see the date submitted by the user and many other details here. And you also see the option to look at that document easily. If the document's been deleted by a mistake, for an example, in any of these workspaces, you do have the option even to restore that back. So the document will be restored into the respective workspace. And if you want to search specifically for a specific document or a specific period, you do have the search bar appearing here. And you can again tick these appropriate options if necessary as well. So submission history is a good area to keep a track of all the documents that has gone through that specific account. Perfect. So the last but not least, let's go into adding users or adding the client's users under this specific account. So I'm going to go into the users tab. I have added some users already. That's why you're seeing them here. If not, this will be empty for you. So you can start adding a user easily from this section. If I go into add a user, you can give their first name, last name. You can choose what's the role you're going to assign to them. Admin user can do everything that you do. So I wouldn't recommend you giving them admin access unless it's really necessary. So you have two other options to choose from. Basic user is a user level that will only see the documents that they've been uploaded. So when you have multiple documents in here, you can limit what they see by changing them to basic users, so they would only see the documents they have uploaded. And you can optionally give them the access to create the expense report, steps that I earlier showed you, by ticking this if it's appropriate. And you can select what sort of access you want to give them for publishing the documents. So if you are typically, you will be posting the documents as the bookkeeper or the accountant to the accounting software, so you can take off that right from them. Expense approval, on the other hand, see all the documents that is sitting in all the workspaces. So this would be ideal for anyone such as a user, I would say owner, or the a manager, which specifically are comfortable seeing all the documents across these workspaces. You can assign to them, but they don't have the rights such as admin user to change the integration tabs. So again, you have the similar options here. You can choose to create expense report and take off the publishing rights, or give them the publishing rights here. Last step, you would key in their email in here, and then you can send out the invitation. You do have a couple of options. You can send an email invitation. You can take a look at the email that they will receive, or you can send as a text message. Or you can choose both of these options to send the invitation to them. The user would have to do is click on the link when they get the invitation and set a password for themselves, and they can start accessing text via mobile app or browser like we are doing, or even start forwarding the emails into Dext itself. Perfect. Once you add the users, you would see their names appearing here. And you do have the option, go under managed and change all the information, all the privileges that we assign to them. You can change their names and the Dext email in address. So you have been assigned the email in address when you add the user. So this is the dedicated Dext address. If you want to change this to a template that you're comfortable with, you can edit this here in this field, and you would see the email being changed. For example, if I'm gonna add the company name to the end, you would see that it's been populated here. You also have the option to change the user roles at any given point of time, or update the password, or even send out the invitation to them if they haven't received that. And also in Dext, if you have users which needs to be present in multiple accounts, we have multi-account management access. So for an example, if I take Lando, let's say he owns both of these businesses, or he needs to send documents to this Belgian Waffles and the Camera Drones account, you have the option to add Lando under both of these accounts using the same email. For it will be convenient for that user, so they can easily log into Dex using one login email and one password, and they will be able to switch between those accounts easily. So in this instance, I have access to two separate accounts, so I can switch between my firm levels. So for an example of the Lando itself, he will see his businesses appearing here, so he can switch between them. So it makes it convenient for the user to use a single access and switch between multiple accounts. And this is also possible within the mobile app as well. When they're logged into the mobile app, they would see a account switcher appearing, so they can easily select that, select the name of the account, and switch to the account that they're working with. All right, perfect. So going into firm level again to show you how you can add your team members and give access to the clients that they'll be working with. So you can go back to your firm level, my team, similar steps. You have the option to add a colleague. If they're using Dext Precision, you would see their name appearing here. If not, it will be the same steps. You'll key in their first name, last name, select the user role. Same user roles are appearing here. So in this instance, you can give them admin, or if you want to limit what documents they see in your firm level, you have the option to choose basic or expense approver. So as an example, basic user won't see all the documents sitting again in the costing box under your firm. But when it comes to client accounts, even though they are a basic user, they will automatically get administrative privileges. Next step, you can choose what clients they work with or everything. And you have the option to send out the invitation to them as well. Perfect. So that covers the main areas that I want to discuss today. So going back to our slide deck, so we looked at creating and managing client accounts, how to set up the clients and connect it with QuickBooks Online, Xero, or any accounting software that you work with. What are the methods available to upload the documents, such as cost and sales items, how to review them, edit them, and post them into the accounting software, how to create expense report, and how to view the document submission history, and finally, how to add the users under client accounts and your firm level. If you need support, you do have resources available. So you can reach out to a support team. You can email them, support@dext.com. If not, if you're logged into Dext account, right-hand side bottom corner, you would see an option to chat with them in this area when you're logged into Dext. Also in Dext under resources tab, you do have access to how to articles page, which actually takes you through specific features, how to set them up, including screenshots, which would be really handy to take a look at something. And you do have the option also to log into our community and work on the partner portal if you go into community and rewards, and you can see latest releases. And also if you see any areas of improvement for Dex, please key in those suggestions under suggest a feature option as well. All right, everyone. That's all the items I want to discuss today. Again, if you have any questions, please post them in the chat or the Q&A section, and I'll be taking those from here onwards. Thank you.